two esteemed guests today. We have Winter joining us,
Hello, everybody from Southern California.
and we have Sabrina Futch.
Hello, also from Southern California. Thanks for having us. Hi, Winter.
Hello, Sabrina.
Hi. I don't think we've never met before. Of course, we haven't met before. It's so great to meet you. I'm a huge fan.
No, we haven't met, but I actually called out to you in an episode that hasn't aired yet.
You
Yes.
did?
Yes, asking if you had any of the fanzines. Holly said you had lots.
I do have extras. I was like handing them out at the show last night. I wish I'd
You
run
were at the
into you.
Hollywood Bowl?
I was.
Oh wow, I would have loved to have gotten one, but
Oh,
maybe
man.
next time. Are you going up to Berkeley?
I'm not. I wish I could. I gotta work. Are you
Are
following
you
them on the
from this
road?
area? Are you
Yeah,
from
I'm
this
from
area?
LA.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought you were from the Austin area. The way that, because you got referenced a few times when we were out in Austin, so I just made that connection in my head.
Wow, that's crazy.
No, I'm actually working out here for the last
In
3 weeks.
LA? Oh, no
Yes,
way.
so that's why I missed Houston and Dallas, but I get to see the inaugural matinee show instead, which is pretty exciting. Do you all
Nice.
know for a fact that all of the matinee shows are no repeats?
Just Madison Square Garden.
Ah,
Yeah.
I was psyched for a no repeats show, but I guess.
I
Well,
guess
I
you gotta
hope.
go to
I
Madison
hope.
Square Garden.
I hope that at least there's some variation between the two sets. I can't imagine that they wouldn't.
There's been variation every night so far, so I think there has
No,
to
but
be.
I mean between the two back-to-back
Yeah.
sets in the same town, because I'm sure that they know that they're going to get some fans going to both.
Yeah. I also imagine with Mike Gordon opening that they'll get some Fish crossover a little bit.
Oh, is he from Fish? I had
Yeah.
no idea who Mike Gordon was. I hadn't even bothered to look him up.
Yeah, he's from Fish.
Do you guys think they're gonna continue cycling through different genres? I'm so excited to see what they do next. We
You
got
mean
country,
like
we got
last night being
ska.
ska?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope that they're out of ska mode.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Saturday.
Oh my
Now,
gosh, should we get into it? I want to hear what you thought.
I'm not a fan of ska,
Oh.
so
Oh no.
all the ska-fied versions don't really do it for me. And
Aw.
last night was particularly disappointing because Ottoman is my single favorite track,
Oh.
ahead of Hannah Hunt, ahead of Hope. And so I just didn't like the ska version. It was interesting, I'll say that. I will also say that the ska-fied version of the
Giving up the gun?
Giving Up the Gun was very, very interesting. Even though I don't like ska, that was fascinating the way he sort of speed screamed through the verses,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
very slow on the chorus. That contrast and just all of the musical flourishes made it interesting, even though I don't technically like that style of music. Although I've always said that regardless of the musical genre, there will always be something that I like.
Yeah.
Not a fan of polka, but I bet somebody could put out some polka song and I'll
Ooh.
find something to like about it.
All right.
Yeah, now I want to hear that. Yeah, I'm not like the hugest ska fan in the world either, but like I was totally here for it just because I've heard all these songs like a million gajillion times. So hearing them arranged a different way was just really fun. Like that performance of Sunflower was insane. I don't even know if I want to call it ska. Like it was a million different genres in one, and it just kept building up and adding different layers and different tempos, different arrangements, different instruments. It was pretty cool.
I do appreciate the fact that they keep mixing up Sunflower. It is not one of my favorite tracks from Father of the Bride, but because they keep on changing it up, that makes it interesting for me. Although I don't know if you saw my comment on Reddit, there was a lot of hate for Sunflower in the men's loo when I took a break.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
A couple of the guys were like, this is the perfect song to drain it to, or this is the perfect bathroom song. I mean, it was
Oh
it was
no.
multiple guys. It was pretty harsh.
That's so
Dang.
funny.
I felt
Yeah.
bad because I had chosen it as my song to go. But if I had held out a little bit longer, it would have been Sympathy, and that's probably my least favorite song.
Oh.
But again, off that album. But again, last night's arrangement was different.
Yeah.
Some of the intros to the songs are interesting, and I'm trying to get better at identifying each song as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that the intro to Sympathy last night was the violin, right?
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
violin for a while with the violinist. What's his name?
Ray Swen.
Ray, wearing the jacket,
Mm-hmm.
the tunnel crew jacket, which was kind of cool.
Now I understand why everyone was joking about wearing those those vests to the concert.
Well, I think I saw on Reddit that somebody, or wait, no, was that Holly in the last podcast who actually said that she tried to get in
Yep.
with a jacket?
Oh,
But was that
yeah.
serious or was that a joke?
No, that was serious. Yeah, she and her brother were both turned away because they were like, you will be mistaken for staff.
So I guess they had to go back to the car and drop off the jackets and then
Yeah,
return?
she said she ran back to her car. I was thinking about doing some ones with like Ogwow on them as like a bootleg merch item, but now it doesn't seem
Ooh.
like the best move.
Yeah, maybe
No,
not.
because then, you'd get all these fans that would be getting turned away, and some of them wouldn't have cars and they had no place to leave them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple moments like that last night where like people got in trouble for something that I feel like the band would be totally cool with. Like I went to the From the Freezer meetup in the lot beforehand, and I saw a security guard come up and was like, "Hey man, you can't be selling these shirts here. Like
Oh.
you got to put those away." And then I saw them like start to put things away, and I think they probably put them back out later, but yeah, I think that technically wasn't allowed, but like the band wouldn't care. I think they would encourage it actually.
Oh, wow. There
So,
was a meetup last night. Where? I mean, or where was it announced? I follow
um
From the Freezer on Instagram. I didn't see anything.
he was just posting about it on his story. It's kind of crazy because I found out he didn't actually go to the show. He just drove down to hang out in the parking lot beforehand and sell his tie-dye shirts. I got this shirt, which I love from him.
That is a sweet shirt.
Yeah, this is like the most beautiful tie-dye I've ever seen. Shout out From the Freezer. And yeah, he had a rack of clothes and there were a few other heads there. It was just like cool to like stand around and meet people. I gave out some of our trading cards that we worked on together. Um, yeah, was only there for like a little while, but I think he was there like all day.
Yeah. He had to go back to San Francisco for work, unfortunately.
But I
Yeah.
imagine he'll be at Berkeley, right?
He will be at Berkeley. He's got another little pop-up merch sale that he'll have before Berkeley.
Well, the Berkeley venue is pretty close to downtown Berkeley, so it's walkable from what I can see. So there should be no shortage of places where he could set up. He could even set up at a coffee house.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah.
That's where I'll be if anybody listens to this. I'll be checking out some of the area coffee houses in Berkeley. I'll park my car and then just spend the afternoon there, and then I can just walk into the cinema.
I saw your post on Reddit. Have you decided on a coffee shop?
Well, I'm going to try to get there early enough to hit 1951 since it
Yeah.
has a pretty high reputation, but they shut at 1500. So
Okay.
after that, I'll have to go someplace else. And most of the other ones are also closing at 1600, 1700. But Kagor, weird spelling with like Q and a G and an A and an O in it, is open till 2300. So that's probably where I'll end up till it's time to walk to the venue itself. I don't have to get there as early this time since I'm not worried about merch. I got there really early last night because of the merch situation in Austin where they sold out. I really wanted to get
really?
something in Austin, and no, they were, before the show even started, they were out.
Crazy. Wow. Yeah, they seemed pretty stocked last night. Did you get anything?
I got this.
Oh, there it is.
Nice.
The classic Ogwow
Yeah,
shirt.
it not my favorite shirt of the ones out there. There was one that I liked better, but it was long sleeved, and I don't
Mm.
want like long sleeve shirts. So it is what it is.
I feel you on kind of having to settle for just whatever works for you. Like I picked the anime design shirt just because I love that design, but it's this bright blue color that I just know I'm never gonna wear. So I'm definitely gonna be tie-dyeing it this weekend.
I liked the that anime design, but again, I wouldn't get the blue. With this
Yeah.
one, I don't feel like I'm settling because I actually like this design. It's a cool design. I
Yeah.
just, there's what half a dozen designs at least there, and there was probably three or four that I really liked, but I was going to pick one. Maybe I'll change my mind and pick up another shirt in Berkeley. I'll wait and see. I'm assuming that they're going to be the same ones, but I'll walk by the table anyway just to see if there's anything different. Do you know from historical history if they change the merch like in the middle of the tour, like from place to place, like as they start running out of shirts, they put out new designs?
Um, I feel like in the past they really didn't, but based on the photos I've seen of the merch tables this year, it has been a little bit different. Like I didn't see the shorts in LA. Did they
Oh
have
yeah.
those?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
the anime shirt was new in LA, but it didn't seem LA specific. There was an LA
Yeah.
specific shirt also though.
That was a weird one to debut at the Ska show. I was like, what's the connection here?
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully that's not an exclusive because I feel like that's a really cool design people are
Yeah.
gonna want to get. Um, yeah, I've only been to Vampire Weekend shows in LA and New York, and both of those shows had exclusive shirts, but I don't know if those are because that's because those are like large metropolitan areas. Um, I don't know.
I could definitely see Berkeley having a special shirt because the opener is Mike Gordon and CT is such a fish head.
Oh,
But,
true.
so you were at Madison Square Garden?
No, I went to Webster Hall,
Oh, wow.
which was probably, yeah, hands down the best concert I've ever been to. Last night is a close second just because they did so many cool things with the arrangement and just like so much hype after not seeing them for so many years. But the Webster Hall show was amazing. It was the one with the bagels and the pizza and three different sets that lasted an entire day. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Were you not at Madison Square Garden?
No, I was
And
not. Were
what
you?
about Austin? I was at Madison Square Garden. You mean 2019 Father of the
Yeah.
Bride?
Yes.
That I would consider definitely my favorite Vampire Weekend show of all time, and probably my favorite show of all time. Although it's shortly after the last year, I also saw Taylor Swift Eras Tour. So it's the two experiences are so high up there that it's a tough call. But in terms of the four Vampire Weekend concerts that I've seen to date, the second one would be Austin. Austin was just a special experience. Were you there, Sabrina? I can't
No, I
didn't keep
wasn't.
track because you couldn't get out there because you were out here
Yeah.
biding your time. Well, we haven't talked much about the music last night. I thought it was interesting that they didn't start with Ice Cream Piano. How often have they been starting with Ice Cream Piano? I'm assuming you've been tracking this, Austin.
They only started with it in Austin, and then since then it's been they bring did they bring the banner down during Ice Cream Piano?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they start with just the three of them playing a couple old songs, and then they play Ice Cream Piano and bring the banner down.
Yeah, Ladies of Cambridge was an interesting twist after Holiday and Cousins. I was looking
Totally.
for that. I think that was the first time I think I'd seen it performed. I think I'm not 100% sure. I thought it was interesting that on the album there's four songs in a row that have a C in the title, right? Ice Cream Piano, Classical, Capricorn, and Connect.
Right.
Last night we had Cousins, Ladies of Cambridge, Ice Cream Piano, Classical, and Connect. That's five in a row with a C. And then the one after White Sky was Cape Cod, Kawasa Kawasa, and that has two C's. So really 7 C's in 7 songs, which is only meaningful to a Scrabble player like me who looks at words
Maybe
and
Ezra's
letters.
trying to tell us something.
He wants you to
Gonna
see something.
he's gonna cross
Yeah.
the seven seas.
I also found
Sure.
it interesting that last night they covered 9 of the new songs, leaving out only Pravda, correct?
Mm.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they only did,
Yeah.
I think, 5 or 6 in Austin. They weren't ready to do the Surfer. They weren't ready to do Prep School Gangsters. I don't think they
Mhm.
did Pravda. I can't remember which other ones they skipped. So that's interesting. I was hoping that they would. I'm hoping, but it sounds like you don't think it's going to be the case. That in Berkeley they'll split and like maybe do 5 on Saturday, 5 on Sunday, and then do more older stuff. I certainly hope that the the requested tracks will be different. Any covers I'm hoping will be different, and any like B sides will be different. It'd be nice to like see Giant in
Mm.
there. I've never
Yeah.
seen that live.
That would be so cool.
Winter, you on the unaired episode, you had some shade for the Surfer. What did you think of it live?
Um, okay, so definitely live better.
Okay.
Just because I think almost anything they do live is better. Although I do think there's some value to listening to the album version with a good audio system and
Mm-hmm.
really being able to hear the instrumentation. The instrumentation on Agwao is really spectacular. I mean, Ariel has just done a stunning job on this album. And you can't hear all of that in a concert because it's
Mm-hmm.
just too loud and there's too much noise. So that would be an interesting a poll to throw up for the listeners on Reddit. Do you prefer the live versions or do you prefer to hear the album versions if you're going for not vibe or experience, if you're going for like just the music?
Yeah, there's just nothing like being there, I think. Like even if it sounds better recorded, like being there hearing all of those songs in this giant crowd of people who like were screaming every single word was like pretty magical. Um
Um, I didn't hear that many people singing along to Hope last night. Did you? I mean,
no, not
Ezra set
really.
them up and asked them to sing. I mean, it seemed like after that setup that people would have just been really into singing the chorus, but I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, I had such an interesting experience because I was in the middle of a few like really hardcore fans, and then I was also next to a couple where the girlfriend was really into the band, and then the boyfriend was like clearly just dragged there by her. And I was like kind of out of the corner of my eye, just like watching like which are the songs that they sit down for and which are the songs that they stand up for. And I think Hope was one of them where they just kind of sat down and checked out, and I was like, "No." Um, yeah,
Did you
and
sit
then
down, Sabrina?
I only sat down very briefly at a few points just because my feet were hurting. Otherwise, I would be standing. I
Nobody
felt
around
guilty
me.
actually.
Nobody around me sat, and so the only time I sat was if I wanted to, if I had like when I was like looking something up online and I didn't want like my phone's glare to bother the people behind me. But I would stay standing when I was just writing it down because as the show is going, it's like I'm as soon as I identify the track, I write it down for my list, and sometimes that involves some googling. Like I didn't know the dangerous knife at all.
Oh.
Fortunately, he told us what that was going to be, but I still looked it up to get the right spelling of the song. I'd never even heard of that song, and I am amazed at how I continue to discover Vampire Weekend songs
Yeah.
that I've never heard of.
I think I only know about it because you posted about it, Austin.
Apparently, it's not on streaming because this morning I woke up to a message
No.
from a friend who saw my post and like she couldn't find it anywhere on streaming.
I've got it on YouTube, but I vividly remember I was a big fan of I Think You Should Leave, and that second season came out, and I was watching it, and that scene came on, and I was like, this is Ezra.
Now, last night was a bit light on modern vampires of the city, wasn't it? Just
Yeah,
Diane Young and Hannah Hunt.
I noticed that. I was kind of surprised about that because I feel like that's one of their biggest albums. Um,
I
Yeah.
personally think it's too soon to say that Ogwow is a better album than any of the other four. I say it
Ooh.
needs at least a year to breathe,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So uh, of the first four, Modern Vampires of the City is still my favorite. I let Father of the Bride sit for a few years. It's spectacular, stupendous, wonderful album, but I just think Modern Vampires is a stronger record.
Hmm.
I would say that Only God Was Above Us is a contender to surpass it, at least in terms of musicality and production and the
I agree.
swings that they're taking.
Yeah.
But I would not displace any of the older albums until at least a year has passed.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I did expect to hear more Modern Vampires last night, especially because so many people have been comparing Ogwow to that album. But like maybe that's why. Like I really wanted to hear Step. That's probably my favorite song off that album, but I understand why they didn't play it because in terms of sound, it's a little similar to some of the Ogwow things, so it might have felt redundant, but yeah, was a
What
little sad not to hear more from that album.
besides Step, what other songs would you like to have heard? I would have loved to have heard Run, for example.
Oh yeah. Yeah, love Run. I would say Yahe is one of my favorites, but that's always kind of weird to hear live. Not in a bad way, just because he always has that vocal processor thing,
Yeah.
that is very temperamental when he does it live. So it's kind of like you're experiencing this beautiful, like, reverential song, and then you just hear these, like, weird voice effects that are a little jarring, but still fun. Um,
I
yeah.
thought Yahe was a traditional closer, but I've only now come to find out that people are saying that Walcott is the traditional closer. In fact, that's what Ezra said. So I don't know why I got that impression. I think it was a closer in Cleveland when I saw them for the
Mm,
first time in
Mm.
2019. But I had started heading out to my car because it was really late and I had somewhere to go in the morning. So maybe they played Walcott after. I have no idea. And I thought that it came as the last song in Madison Square Garden, but again, I could be wrong.
Madison Square Garden, it was Yahe and then Walcott, but for the Father of the Bride tour, they kind of alternated between ending on Yahe or Walcott.
aha.
This tour,
Yeah,
it's been Walcott every time, except for
feels
festivals.
right.
Yeah.
Interesting. I personally would love them to throw in a Yahe as their closer.
Yeah.
I mean, two shows in Berkeley. They should split it. It's only fair.
Yeah, I could see that being a split there. Where were you both in the bowl?
I was like roughly in the middle. I was really planning on springing for the pit tickets this year, but they really priced me out of that. But there's really not a bad seat in the house in the bowl. Like you could be all the way back in the nosebleeds and it would just still be such a gorgeous view. What
I
about
was
you,
a
Winter?
bit towards the back K on the looking at from if you're looking from the stage, it would be on the right. Not great, but I was a little bit more price conscious after shelling out quite a bit for Austin and coming off my world tour where I dropped 25K. So until I have been at this job for a little bit longer, I don't want to spend too much money. I've as a contractor for 27 years, sometimes you get into a job and it just doesn't work out after a month or two, or sometimes it
Hmm.
gets canceled.
Mm.
So, and I'm seeing both Berkeley's. Although the Berkeley tickets are quite reasonable. And I actually got one for only $40 resale
Wow.
from somebody I know, one of the Instagram TC
Oh my
heads.
God.
Nice.
So that was
That's
fantastic.
amazing. Is it a smaller venue up in Berkeley? Well, I assume
I
because Hollywood Bowl's giant.
Yes, I would assume most venues are smaller than Hollywood Bowl. So yeah, it's I believe attached to UC Berkeley.
Gotcha. Yeah, I loved last night's show, but it did kind of have me wishing that I could also see them in a smaller space just to have more of like an intimate feeling. And also like I don't know, like it sucked that only people that had pit tickets were able to request songs. I was so
Yeah.
far back, there was no chance for me. I don't know what I would even request, but I would like to have the option.
Well, in the last 2 episodes, we've convinced somebody to go to Montana, so you just have to go to Montana. $20
Oh my
pit
gosh.
tickets.
Is that a
20
special
dollar.
show in some way? Or like what's happening in
Apparently,
Montana?
it's really beautiful. $20 pit
Okay.
tickets, but $500 hotel room.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
There's no opener, and it's evening and then matinee again, and
Wow.
Montana is special to the boys. So
It is? Wait, I don't know this story. How is it special?
I don't know that there's one story, but there's something about like driving when they were very early on all the way out there or something, and like seeing venues and being like, one day we'll play there. I don't remember the
That's
exact story,
sweet.
but also CT used to live there.
And I think
Okay.
Jake loves Montana as well.
Oh, of course.
So
One of our secret hopes is that Mountain Brews will be the opener, or Richard Pictures.
Oh, it's
yeah,
gonna be like a secret opener
just
situation? That's cool.
hearing that as a possibility really makes me want me to go, but it's just a non-starter for me.
Yeah. That or the side project they alluded to in a couple interviews.
Wait,
Oh,
the
yes.
side project is not Cocaine Cowboys?
No,
I thought that was the side project that they alluded to.
I don't
Oh.
think so. No.
Oh wow, so there's more to be
Yeah.
discovered.
I don't know. Did you guys ever? There was the CT was on the good old Grateful Dead cast recently. Did you guys
Didn't
listen to
hear
that?
that. No.
No,
In
I'm not
that
a
one,
Grateful Dead head, so I haven't been
yeah,
following that.
he subtly drops that they were working to play shows with Bob Weir, and like they were gonna open,
What?
and Bob Weir was gonna play with them, and they were gonna play with Bob Weir, and that's just and like they practiced for a long time for him and everything.
You're kidding. What
No,
happened?
I know.
That sucks. So they dropped that and they got Voodoo Glow Skulls and English Beat
Yeah,
instead. They just
yeah.
hardcore pivoted.
Is Bob Weir here in California?
Probably, but I don't know. Maybe he's in
I
Vegas
assume.
now.
Yeah,
But
maybe not.
I assume. I guess I already have a hunch how you felt about it, Winter. But what did you guys think about the openers?
You mean the two openings? Oh, the opening acts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know them, and as soon as I missed. Uh, what was the first one? The English beat.
The first one was Voodoo Glow Skulls. Voodoo
What?
Glow Skulls.
No, I thought that was the second one.
The second one was the English Beat.
Oh, the second one was the English beat. Okay, I got them backwards on Wikipedia. I missed the first one. No, I didn't miss them. I could hear them, but I was out like buying merch and getting coffee, ridiculously overpriced coffee. And so they were done by the time I got in there. So then I would have seen the English beat, and the lead singer, came on stage and said, "Oh, we're a ska band," and I'm like, "Oh well." I'm gonna do my best to enjoy it. And then they were playing all these songs that I thought, these songs sound really familiar, like
Yeah.
done by somebody else, like sooner or later. And I had to look that up, and it seems like that's somebody else's song,
Hmm.
right?
They
That's
did
not their
play at
song.
least one cover that I know of. But yeah,
Oh.
I don't know. I think they're originally from the 80s, so it's possible that they sound like other people's songs because they are their songs from a really long time ago. I don't know. I don't know a ton of their songs, but I do love them. I really liked seeing them. I think if you're not a fan of ska, it's probably for the best that you weren't like in your seat for Voodoo Glow Skulls because they were really loud. Um, and honestly, I felt kind of bad for them because they were like really bringing the noise, like sincerely, and just giving it their all. And I was looking down at the pit and everyone was just standing completely still. And that is not how the vibe is meant to be at a ska show. Um, yeah, you're supposed to be like moshing around and like getting bruised and injured. um, yeah, that's not the vibe at Vampire Weekend.
No.
I actually did hear the music from a distance, and I didn't recognize it as ska at all, which tells you how much I know about ska. To me, it sounded like metal, like some really hard, aggressive metal. And I thought, wow, that is an odd choice for an opener for Vampire Weekend. But okay.
Yeah, it was giving like hardcore punk vibes to me. Yeah, it was really intense. And then the main singer was running around wearing like a funny mask on his face. Oh, I'm trying to remember what he had the crowd chant. Like he would scream like voodoo voodoo, and then the crowd would yell fuck you, and we were just screaming fuck you over and over and over, and like the guy was running around with a sign that said fuck you all over the stage. um, just so crazy. I enjoyed it, but then it was funny for Ezra to come on later and be like, "Oh yeah, this band was a huge influence for us." And I was like, "Really?"
Well,
um,
I have noticed in his on the on stage banter, he's saying fucking a lot more than I'm used to hearing him say.
oh.
Like a lot of make some fucking noise remarks.
I noticed that too last night, and I thought I don't remember that level of profanity from the first 3 shows that I've been to,
Yeah,
other than in the songs themselves.
right.
It almost feels
Interesting.
like somewhat ironic. Like, I don't know, all of his stage banter kind of felt like a joke or like a performance, which I say lovingly. Like he kind of has this like grandiosity to everything he says on stage, or maybe just in general. But yeah, maybe being a little profane was just him, I don't know, trolling a little bit.
Before I forget, do either of you two know about Tim Robbins? Like, what was the whole this guy used to be a piece of shit, but now he's better whole thing? I don't know any that completely. I didn't even know who he was.
I don't watch the show.
Tim Robinson, first of all, though that's a funny thing because Ezra was asked to write a song for the first season of the show and dismissed it because he thought Tim Robbins was asking him instead of Tim Robinson, the comedian. Tim Robbins is like a self-help guru or something, I think.
I think that's Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's who we thought it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
that's
Um,
so funny.
but to answer your question, the last episode of season 2, like it's just he's just riffing on that. That's just what the skit is about.
Okay, so it was a reference to the show.
That's so funny. Yeah, as soon as you mentioned that you didn't know who he was, I was like, what was Winter's reaction to Ezra saying all that? Just completely like stone faced, sincerely. So out of character. Yeah, I haven't seen that sketch either. So I was also surprised.
And then Tim Robbins comes on, or Tim Robinson comes on,
Yeah.
and he doesn't look at all upset.
Yeah.
So
No.
clearly, there's something, that's an inside joke that I'm not getting. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to know. Sabrina, what was your favorite track last night, or favorites?
Oh my gosh. What a good question. I feel like it might have been that Capricorn, like that moment where the curtain came down. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was Ice Cream Piano. I honestly I'm kind of conflating both of those
You
two
mean
because they
after Ice Cream Piano, the curtain came down, right?
yeah, it was kind of in the middle, like once the slow intro
Oh,
had
right.
finished and
Okay.
then
Yes.
boom,
That's
everything hits. Yeah, and I guess both of those songs are kind of like that. And yeah, in both cases I just got chills immediately. Yeah, that's obviously the first time I've ever seen those songs performed live. I'm just so happy they played so many songs from the new album because I feel like bands don't usually do that. Like they usually focus on playing the hits, but last night was a really good mix of like new stuff and old stuff.
I mean, 9 out of 10 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I wonder what happened with Pravda. Maybe they just decided. Maybe they're just intentionally going to omit certain tracks from the new album, show to show, just not to do them all.
Yeah, I
That
don't know.
seems like there's a methodology to that. My favorite track was Still Hope.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was my favorite track from Austin. It was my favorite track uh, last night. It's right now still hovering right behind Ottoman and Hannah Hunt as my favorite track. But again, I got to give it time to see, how I'll feel after a couple of years and lots of listens, whether the repetition will get to me or whether I'll get even more excited and want to hear the 12 verse version of Hope, like, the 30-minute version.
Yes.
And I think I'd probably rank Hana Hunt last night as my second favorite. Although the instrumentation, I believe, was a little bit different from what we hear on the album, right?
I listened to a tape of it, like at the very beginning piano sounded quite different.
But the song is so strong that I think that no matter how they play it, I'd like it as long as they don't do a ska version. Because
Ska
that, yes,
Hunt.
because Ottoman would have been my second favorite song
Yeah.
from last night had it not been a ska version.
Do you like jam band music?
Not a jam band guy, but what Vampire Weekend has been doing since Father of the Bride tour has been pushing me in more in the direction of, yeah, maybe I could get into this.
Yeah. Well, you'll get a chance with Mike Gordon.
Oh, true.
I assume. I mean, I've never listened to Mike Gordon solo, but
Interesting. Do his bandmates live in the area? Do you think that they'll pop in for a guest appearance?
I have no idea.
No prediction.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know because I don't know anything about Fish.
I really don't either, except that some people have told me I resemble Trey Anastasio.
The closest I've gotten to Fish is showing up at a new Starbucks in Indiana, and the parking lot was full of motorcycles and campers, and I was like, what is going on? And apparently there'd been a Fish concert nearby, and there'd been overflow parking in that lot.
Oh.
That's
Nice.
so funny.
What did you guys think of the cover section?
I believe in the last podcast, either was it Holly and Evie?
The latest one was Evie.
No, Evie and
Smith and Alicio.
Okay, Smith and Alicio were talking about how they wished that they could play more of the song, and I feel exactly the same way. I, as much as it might disappoint some fans who call out for requests, I would feel more comfortable if they turned some down and like picked songs that they know and can play all the way through. Because I don't know, just the chorus or just the verse just doesn't do it for me as if they actually tackled the entire song. But I actually don't. I'm not a musician, and I don't know what it takes to memorize lots and lots of songs. So I have no idea how many songs from other artists a typical singer can recite. Seems very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best to get called on, but I think my goal would be to cover something I think they do know. To ask them to cover something they do know.
I would hope he would know Pizza Party, because I totally agree that they should at least do Pizza Party once. I would love to see them do Pizza Party, or if not, watch a YouTube or something like that.
I think they've done a little snippet of it at one of the recent shows, but he seemed reluctant. I think he wants to put it behind him. Yeah.
If he's embarrassed by it, he shouldn't be, because it's a fantastic song.
I agree.
Yeah. And every time I listen to it, like, I forget how many parts there are in it.
It's so long. Yeah. Yeah, it feels like a bad trip towards the end.
I'm going to have to listen to it again tonight.
Yeah, the part where he talks about basically leaving a Domino's driver for dead.
It's great hip-hop worthy storytelling.
I agree. He should play some more of the other Lone Run songs. I don't think he's ever...
I mean, the
he
other
should play
two...
Bitches.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think the other two are as memorable.
Yeah.
I don't really remember them.
I'll admit I can't remember the other one's name.
If he's not going to play Pizza Party, he's not going to play Interracial Dating.
Definitely not.
Yeah, like there's some songs that I just can't remember, like Broken Washing Machine, for example.
Yeah.
Some people say it's really good, but I can't, it just doesn't stick in my mind. And then then that's the only one, really. The other one's an acoustic version of what? Capricorn?
Gen X Cops.
Gen X Cops, okay. Although Gen X Cops goes so hard on the music that just the fact that there is an acoustic version is interesting.
Yeah. What did you guys think of Ariel on stage?
Oh my gosh, that guy can play. And apparently he had a lot of fans, because every time he cranked it, like the crowd went wild.
This was another moment for me where I was looking over at the boyfriend sitting next to me who was like not happy to be there because he brought out Ariel and was like, "Oh, you can tell he's about to like shred some serious like guitar on this song." And then they started playing, I think it was Capricorn, and it has like the gentlest opening ever. And I could see like the guy next to me just getting so bored. Like, I thought that we were gonna get some like loud guitar. Like, what is this? And then of course, they get to that loud part and it's epic. And he totally did shred. Um, yeah, that was a really cool moment in the show. Um, yeah, I did get really excited. I'm not gonna lie. He said, "I'm gonna bring out a very special guest," and I was like, "Oh my god, there's so many people it could be. Like, it's the Heim sisters. Like, who's it gonna be?" And of course, it was Ariel. Like, of course he was gonna be there. But yeah, I was really hoping the Heim sisters would show up. It kind of makes sense that they didn't because it's not the Father of the Bride tour, but
Yeah.
still, I'm sure
Yeah.
they live down the street.
Yeah.
Since you brought up Ariel, I'll tell you a story that y'all don't know.
Oh.
Both of you have probably heard the 100th episode of Time Crisis where Despot and I went into a Starbucks and he tried Starbucks for the first time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, in the run up to that, we actually met out on the street with Despot and Ariel and Nick and the other producers. I don't think Jake was there, and we were trying to find a Starbucks to go to, and Ariel really had to go. And this being Manhattan, we had to go to like two different ones, and there was no washroom. And finally,
Oh no.
on the third one, we found one that had a washroom, and I was like, I pointed all the way to the back, and like, they were all like surprised that they were so hard to find a bathroom. But of course, if you live in New York and the Starbucks there, you know that
Yeah.
it's hit or miss whether you can find a washroom, and even when you can, there might be a line out the door to use it.
Yeah.
And you usually need a code.
Now, probably, yeah, not so 10, 20 years ago, yeah. Less so on the codes, but yeah, that was an interesting experience. That was my second time meeting Ariel. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, I really loved how they projected his face on the screen during the whole sunflower section with the eclipse goggles with like the red lights coming out of his eyes.
That
That
was
was really
fantastic.
fun. I just really love in general like the set design for I think they must be doing this on the whole tour. I can only speak for this particular show, but like I loved how many different like layers of the stage there were. Like so much thought was put into the design of this show.
Oh, do you two, speaking of design, do you two know if water tunnel number 3 is always the background? Because it was not in Austin.
It has been. Is that like a physical, like a 3-dimensional thing, or is it like a screen projection?
I have no idea.
It's a physical thing. Yeah, I remember when they first revealed it, I was really confused because it looks like something pulled straight out of like the Star Wars section of Disneyland.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this is cool. It's like a futuristic like space thing maybe." And then I was like, "Oh, of course it's a tunnel."
Yeah.
Now
Hello.
I'm a little behind. I know that a lot of the fans have done deep dives into water tunnel number 3. I know that it's referenced in The Surfer, but does it also have another reference? Does it have a reference to one of the Steven Seagal photos? Did he photograph that?
This is the first I'm hearing about this. I know what lyric you're talking about, but
yeah, well, it's right at the beginning of the Surfer lyric, right?
Yeah.
And apparently other people have picked up on it. Like I believe Holly did a deep dive on that.
Yeah.
Somebody else did. I think. Do you listen to the Vampire Weekday podcast where they analyze the lyrics? One of the two hosts there, I believe, did a deep dive. It was like somebody that spent like 30 minutes going into the history of that water tunnel. So yes, it's connected. I mean, obviously, it's kind of like the aesthetic theme for the stage design. So I'm just wondering if there was more to it than just that lyric from The Surfer. Maybe some listener will know.
I believe they've talked about it on Time Crisis.
Yeah, you're right.
I think Holly knows. I need to ask her more about it.
Yeah, it's really interesting how tunnels are such a big recurring motif on this album and on this tour. I haven't really stopped to think about what the deeper significance of that is, like thematically, not just about the specific water tunnel.
I wonder if you can actually get in. Like if somebody did a Manhattan Vampire Weekend tour where you do Vampire Weekend stuff, like right on the M79. Can you actually go into Water Tunnel number 3? Can you go to Harmony Hall? Somebody needs to put together a tour map of this and like make it a thing.
Somebody who might be on the call with us right now and has done a Vampire Weekend tour.
I did start that, but then I left New York.
I'm sure you have a lot of New York listeners who
Yes.
would be able to do some on the ground research.
Yeah.
Just don't get arrested trying to get into Water Tunnel. Please, not on my account.
Just wear a safety vest and then you'll be mistaken for criminals.
There you go. It's just been really cool just seeing how the fandom has come back this year. I know you guys have already talked about this on the pod, but it's just really refreshing to talk with people who know about this stuff. Cause yeah, I don't really know anyone in my life who like is as big a fan as I am. And so I'm always kind of like censoring myself, like I can't go on about this for too long because people don't care. But yeah, I feel like I've been a fan of this band for so many years since I was in high school. And I've just been storing up all this knowledge that I don't know what to do with.
I feel that so much, Sabrina. I'm sure that there have been many moments where I can see the eyes glazing over of the person who I'm talking to, and I know that I've talked too long about Vampire Weekend and or Time Crisis. You know? I mean, I'm sure you two both know that I'm probably slightly mildly on the spectrum, and one of those, we have a tendency to just get fixated on a topic and just talk on and on about it, whether it be Starbucks or coffee or comic books. And so I have to, like, over the course of my life, train myself not to do that. But I still slip every once in a while, and I can tell it's like the person I'm talking to does not know who Vampire Weekend is. They do not care.
Well,
sometimes you can't help yourself.
This is a safe space to spill everything you have to say about Vampire Weekend.
Yes.
I appreciate the opportunity, Austin.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Sabrina, will there be a Zine or Zine Crisis 3?
Oh my gosh. I would be open to it. Yeah, Zine Crisis is something that I worked on with a whole bunch of people that I met in the Vampire Weekend Facebook group in 2019. I don't know if that even still exists. I hope it does. But that was something that we all worked on together. Holly was one of the people on the crew. She helped a bit. And we did 2 issues that were really fun to work on during the pandemic.
Outstanding issues.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun working on those, but yeah, it was during a time in the pandemic where I don't know, everything was crashing and burning.
Yeah.
So we kind of had to put that to bed for a while, but I'd be open to bringing it back if anybody's listening and wants to collaborate on something. I'm in.
And winter, you're going to be in Berkeley. Would you be open to coming back on to talk about it?
Absolutely. Probably good to do it after both shows. That way I can compare and contrast, talk about how much overlap was the set list, how the different shows, if the energy was different. I imagine that matinee energy is going to be a little bit different than nighttime energy. How the energy compares to Hollywood Bowl. All right, I think we're going to get kicked off the call.
Yes.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. This was a really good one.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you so much.
Have
Bye,
a good
guys.
night. Bye-bye.